All right, now we're going.
Okay, hi.
Hi. You all right?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
We've got a special guest today sitting here with us.
Cool. It's Frida.
Frida's
for
here with
those
us,
who are not watching.
Which, why would you not watch? Do you know what I mean? I mean...
Maybe you're driving.
Or commuting or going somewhere.
I don't really want to put it out there that we disagree with any
That's true.
style of consuming our
That's
podcast.
true.
Like, I'm all for it.
I forget that people aren't watching, so sometimes we'll act things out and it's annoying for the... So maybe that's something to bear in mind.
I just think, like, you get what you get.
Yeah.
I think you know that if you're listening to a podcast, you might miss some of the, like, nuance that comes from seeing how people are, like, what you're doing and everything.
Thank you for listening, everyone.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh my God, we need to say what happened when we went to that party.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, should we say now? Did you have anything you wanted to say first?
Nah, go on.
Okay, so last week, or whenever it was, because we're always behind, we spoke about, we were going to like a fashion-y event and we were laughing about it.
Did we film the podcast on the day that we were going?
No, it was before, but I remember us talking about us going. Anyway, we went to this, it was the Jigsaw presentation, and we went and we walked in and it was like, it was fine. It was gorgeous building. Everything was lovely. There was like free drinks, everything, but it was absolutely boiling hot, like boiling hot to the point where, I mean, Lewis is a sweaty guy, aren't you? Like, let's not call her...
Don't beat around the bush.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's not...
You're saying let's call a spade a spade?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, and I look, and the woman's like, "Hi, welcome, so lovely." She's like, "Oh, do you want a drink? Like, what would you like?"
We're just like in the foyer at the moment.
We're not even in the main
gone
room.
in the bit where everyone is.
Where it's like lots of people, and I look up at Lewis, and he is. It's not even like, oh, he's starting to sweat. It's like he had droplets hanging in a line over his forehead, and I was like, oh my God. And
they were like sitting on the creases in my forehead and also like dripping off of my eyebrows.
Yeah. And it was so, you were so wet, it looked like someone had splashed you with their drink. And I was like, okay, we're going to go into a room that's like even hotter than this. So the woman gave us our drinks and everything was fine. Sit down. And everything was fine. And we walked into this room and it was like the heat of the room just got more and more. It
was really intense.
It was so intense. Also, Lewis was wearing white t-shirt, woolen cardigan. And he was like, oh, I'm going to have to undo the cardigan. And I was like, okay, yeah, like, let's take the cardigan off. You're getting too hot. He undid two of the buttons. And I'm not joking. This is no exaggeration. On his chest was...
Well, it's like wet t-shirt competition vibes, wasn't it?
But it was a circle of wet. It was like the perfect circle of wet. And I was just like, you have to keep your car... That we can't... There's no going back. Like, you've got to button up the cardigan and just...
It was like...
Oh my God, it was hysterical.
It was at the point where it was less embarrassing to just, like, in front of everyone, get the sleeve of my cardigan and just, like, do a full...
On, like, wool. So it's not even, like, cooling you down. It's like the bits of fluff are going in your...
It's, like, scratching my sweaty head while I'm... Yeah, it's not ideal.
What was that? Okay, and
Hang on. Just so you know, when we do that waving thing, you've got to give it like 2 seconds of silence before you jump back in. Otherwise, I cut back in and I'm doing this.
Okay, sorry. So anyway, apart from Lewis getting like just, I was hot, but you were at the point of hot where it was like you had spiky hair, you know, and it's just like you're sopping wet. This really lovely girl, I won't name any names because it's like, we can't name people on the podcast. This lovely girl came up to us and was like, I love your podcast. And it was like being in an environment where we were a bit like, oh, we don't know anyone and we're just trying to mingle.
Don't we know anyone in that world,
lovely.
do we?
No. And she was like, the first face that we saw or spoke to. And she was like, I love your and she just, I mean, I'm not going to gas up what she said because it was lovely. But
no, it was sweet
like,
though. Yeah, it was cool.
She's a full listener, so you know who you are.
Yeah.
Thank you for making us feel... Oh, but the funniest part was, I think because we were all talking about our podcast and then she introduced us to someone else and we're all standing there, the photographer of the event was like, oh, can I grab a photo of you two?
Who, like, let's be real, had probably taken one glance at us and been like, okay, cool. They're not on my radar to take a photo
let's take a photo of you.
Yeah.
And I look up at Lewis and it's like more sweat falling over his eyes and I was just like, right, let's just, we've got to. And I was also just as hot and bright red. And it was just hysterical that like we'd been there for 5 minutes. It looked like we were like famous from our podcast, which, you know, is getting bigger, but it's still quite small. And next day went on the website. Our photo wasn't anywhere.
Yeah, we didn't get used. But
I just thought it was lovely that people know the pod. And it just makes me feel great when people say that. So thank you so much. Anyway, next time we go somewhere like that, events are always going to be hot. I think we need to be better prepared.
I honestly think I should get a chic battery-powered fan and walk around with that on my head. Or
do you know that
just
is the last thing?
What you thought I was going to say?
I thought you were going to say, like, I think I should get a shot. I thought you were going to say, like, an injection to stop you sweating. And you said chic, and then I was thinking, like, a chic linen outfit that doesn't...
Yeah, that doesn't sweat.
Battery-powered fan.
I will sweat through anything that I'm given. So, like, what am I meant to do?
I know.
What am I meant to do? I'm just... Like, even if I do wear a full
think
linen outfit...
I think you abnormally sweat, though, I do. I'm being real.
But realistically, I was in a very hot, like...
It was 30 degrees in London. It was the heat wave.
And I was wearing a woolen cardigan. Like, it just wasn't needed.
Also, you had a bag.
I also didn't even rate my outfit that much. It's a bit of a shame.
We weren't very organised.
And...
Do you want to know why? I said this on the podcast, I think. You don't let me go shopping for you, help you buy stuff, and then on the day, you're like, I don't rate my outfit.
I don't want to buy anything. I don't want to buy any clothes. I just am waiting for you to become a really influential influencer, and then we can start making family content, and then I'll just get free wardrobe.
Okay, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I've said this for the last 2 years. You have to start wanting to make content with me. You'll get free stuff. I get gifted stuff every week.
I'm not going to post any like influencer stuff on my page though.
It's on mine, but whenever I say like getting a photo of me, you can't be asked, and you can't. And in the morning when you get dressed,
can't be asked is rude. Actually, makes me sound like a toxic.
But when you get dressed in the morning, you pick up whatever's closest, and you don't plan your outfit, so you don't ever want to be in it. I'm not having this, guys. We have this conversation 3 times a year.
I actually think it's quite shit of me.
Like, can I get a jacket from North Face? And it's like, you got to make some content first. I'm out here doing this for like 3 years.
Yeah, it's true.
So, if you want to take Tate Bogush, I'm naming you, her ideas seriously about being an influencer, you've got people trying to help you here.
Tate said I should be.
Tate, you just called her Tate.
Tate said I should be a diabetes filmmaker Instagram influencer.
Is that not quite sick? You've got to start somewhere. What else are you going to talk about?
I just don't want to talk about my blood sugar. That's boring.
Okay, that's fair. It's quite traumatizing. I think you should just take her advice though, and like if you want to...
I'm not going to post anything on my gram. I like that my gram is...
You're not
I
going to
pretty
get
much
any stuff
deleted
then.
everything personal off it now.
Yeah.
It's all just work. Work.
Grind.
I want to just mention another thing actually that I've noticed about myself recently.
Yeah.
And don't think I've brought it up to you.
Okay.
But I've noticed that. So it used to be like I was your biggest fan. Every time something happened, we'd celebrate and like jump around, right?
I know. Yeah, scream.
And now it's like I'm still gassed. Obviously, we're still gassed when you get cool stuff. But every time you get an email about some clothes, my fucking go-to is like, oh, can you get an extra large so I can have it?
Yeah.
Or like, oh, can you see do they do men's as well? Can we get something unisex?
Yeah.
It's like, what? I've actually noticed that in myself.
Oh,
You've never said anything.
No, but you know
It's
that,
like
I would love to do that. I want to. You know how much we love to match.
I know, but how about I just gas you up for a big brand wanting to give you clothes? How about like that's as far as it goes? Like, I don't have to be like making everything about me. It's annoying me that I'm doing it. I've noticed.
I think that you gas me up a lot, so I don't feel like it's that much of a big deal. But what does annoy me about you doing that is that could be happening. If all I needed to do is send them a PDF of content we've made together and some reels and be like, hey, do you think my fiance could have one of the roll necks as well? Do you know what I mean? But there's nothing to send. No offence, everyone.
No offense, everyone.
But thank you for noticing that. It's very
sweet.
Well,
yeah, no, it's fine. I'm going to try and like either make a change so that it is less about me or actually do what you say.
Okay.
But
not sure which one yet.
Well, no, I'm just going to try and stop mentioning it. But I did it this morning. Well, this afternoon.
You?
Like literally 20 minutes ago when you were looking at that cardigan at home.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I think that was actually my idea. I said, I'm going to get it in a large. It's going to be oversized, then you can wear it.
I just won't wear a large.
It's got to be XL. Can we just take a moment for everyone watching what's been going on?
Right, she's so sweet. She just wants to...
Freeds just wants her dad the whole time, and then I'm just sat on the edge. And if there's any whining going on, it's because he's stopped stroking her.
Anyway.
Do you have anything else to say, my gorgeous blue-eyed man, or shall we cut to the questions?
Cut to the chase and give me a question.
Okay. Okay. Right. The first question I'm going to go with is, it's actually two questions that link together. Okay, I'm actually going to preface this question by saying that it was actually a voice note. So I'm not going to be reading the question or the context off. I'm just going to remember it from the voice note that I listened to. So the context is this person was seeing somebody and it was going really well, having a great time, couple of months, I'd say. I think that's what they said. And basically what happened was the other person they were seeing started putting pressure on the situation and was like, what are we going to be and what can I give you and what do you want, and overcomplicating it, they said, in their eyes. And they didn't even know what they wanted it to be at that point. They just knew they were having a nice time and they were connecting with this person. And the other person got in such a muddle that like it kind of pushed them away. So she ended up ending the situationship or relationship, whatever it was, because of like pressures that weren't even really being asked of them and like weren't even really on the table. So that's the context. I hope I did this question asker proud with how I explained it. So then it comes to the question, what do you feel like, what do we think about cutting things off when things like this happen, or going along with it and kind of like, basically they asked us, do we think that they cut it off too quickly? Because they, in their eyes, the answer to the question that the person was saying was like, well, obviously you don't want to make me your girlfriend then, you know? So you're obviously freaking out about something. So then they were like, I don't want to be second best, goodbye. Whereas do we think that that's fair in a way? Or like, how do we feel about worrying about labels, and do you think you're being a bit taken advantage of? Yes.
I think like why would you make so much of it if you weren't sure, like the other person?
Yeah,
right. It's like, if you're not sure, why keep bringing it up? Just like, if you wanna if you don't know what you want and you want to see whether this is what you want, like, just see. Don't like.
That's what I thought.
Like, why are you saying things that are gonna make the other person feel worried, or like they might not be what you want, like not worthless, but it's like, it's kind of puts it kind of, without saying anything, it like puts you down a bit, because it's like, oh, maybe I'm not what they want, and like,
yeah,
I guess I'm not seeing someone who wants to be with me, because they either would have said that they did, or they would be happy to just see how this goes, which I imagine that's where they were at. The person who said it, asked the question, it sounds like they were like happy to just see how it's going. But like, if you start saying all this stuff, I think if someone's saying all of that, it's a bit like, it's like, why are you making that my problem?
It's also like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Why are you worrying that you're not making me your girlfriend? Like, you obviously don't want me to be then, in a way. It's like, and I think that's why she said she ended it, because it's like, it's almost like, what's the point in being like, I'm not saying, like, highlighting the fact that you're not taking things to the next level every week and being like worried about it. So
it seems a bit cowardly.
That's what I was going to say.
Because it sounds like you just are worried about breaking it off because you're going to be single. Or like, you like the good sides of this, you know it's not what you want long term, so you're just like
keep consoling them, and they're not even asking.
Yeah.
Like she said, she didn't even need a label. She doesn't know what it is either.
Yeah.
But they've ruined it by like bringing it up every week, and it makes them feel shit that like, you don't want me to be your girlfriend. Okay, you've told me that. Like,
yeah. So in answer to the actual question, like, no, I completely back like
putting yourself first in a way.
Yeah, and being like, well, if you're going to keep saying that, then let's not do this.
Yeah.
Especially at the end of the day, like, if what they keep saying is not making you feel good, then
you don't want to hear it anymore.
That's like not what you want, so let's not do that anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
And then she had another question that linked, which was interesting, that like, as they just said in their situation, they didn't like fall in love straight away. And I feel like on this podcast we always talk about like, oh, we met each other and it was just like, wow, we're in love and everything. Mm-hmm. What do we think about like things being more of a slow build up and like not being sure? And so she's saying for future things, like, should she kind of know quite soon if like it's someone that's better than all the others and that they're like your person in a way? Or do we think it's like different for everyone? I mean, obviously it is, but like, where's the line with like, well, it's been 6 months and you're not?
I don't think there is one. I think there's...
What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my thoughts are there's lots of intricacies around meeting someone and like deciding whether you want them to be your boyfriend or like
or girlfriend.
Or girlfriend, yeah, of course. But I let me get this out because I'm...
Go on, I'm here for it.
What did I say? There's a lot of intricacies. It's kind of like, as long as it feels good, it could happen however it's going to happen, right? And like, I don't think you can go through life expecting to fall in love with someone on the street and for them to be your person. Like, I don't think that happens.
It's not how it works.
Yeah. Because also that's like purely, I know I'm just saying this now, no one said this, but like, if you walk past someone and think you love them, it's just because they look like what you like people to look like. That literally is it.
Wow, that's deep.
It is.
Yeah. But don't you think there's something about chemistry, even if you don't know them, like say you meet someone and you like how they look, but you just feel good sat next to them. You might not know them, you might not have spoke to them, but do you think there's something about like...
Yeah, and I'm
chemistry?
I'm not saying like don't take that into account. I think if you have that with someone, then then do it. You know?
Yeah.
But I'm also not saying... I'm also saying I don't think you need that.
To like fall in love with someone eventually.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Also, people change all the time, I think. Like, you might even have a friend. Like, I know I have friends that have been friends for like 10 years and then have just kind of just fallen in love. But it's not like an instant thing. It kind of like builds up over time, or... You know them and maybe they're having a difficult time and they're not. Oh, she's so cute. Sorry, Frida's being so sweet. I don't really know what I'm saying, but I think I agree with you. I don't think you should worry if you haven't got that. Like if you're like seeing someone and you don't feel like obsessed with them and the work and like electricity, like if that's what you want, for sure keep going to find it. But I think that can develop with like certain situations
I also think
you're
if
both
that's
in.
what you want, if you're like trying to find that, that's you're putting yourself under
unrealistic. Yeah.
I do also just want to say though that like obviously we're being really like open-minded about how we're saying this, but like we did actually just fall in love the first time we met.
I know. See?
So like. You can do that. You can do that. And it's like, I kind of knew like straight away that you were someone that I wanted to like pursue.
Same.
Know? And it like didn't feel toxic. It didn't feel like I was rushing
like an
anything.
obsession either. It was like healthy.
Yeah. It was just like, I just loved being around you. And that is definitely like different to.
I've got another point.
Go on.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Do it.
I think, like, the person who wrote in about this question, let them go. So it's like, if you think you can break up with them and never see them again, then you've kind of got your answer.
Right decision. Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
I could never have broken up with you. I mean, I could have done if you'd done something, but I would never have wanted to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're at the point where you're like, oh, don't know if I should stay with them.
Then don't. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. I think that gives you your answer too. It's interesting that people think we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
I find that funny every day. Okay, next question.
Yeah, I'm going to double check that we're still recording.
Yeah.
You do the question though.
Okay.
We bloody are.
We bloody are. Okay. How do we feel? Oh, let me read it out so I don't forget it. Okay, do you believe in feelings of competitiveness between two best friends? Or is this toxic? Or is it natural when you feel closer to one person compared to others?
What?
Like siblings, for example. Please discuss. So let's start with the best friend thing, maybe. Competitive.
Do they mean like competitive for like who's the best friends in the group?
No, I think they mean just like
being competitive against your best friend.
Yeah, because you're closest with them, maybe. I feel like that kind of thought process of competitiveness is like inevitable in the sense of like, if you're doing the same thing, you want the same goals. Say you both work in the same industry or want career-wise or personally, like, want the same things. I do think if someone's doing that before you, it's quite a human response to be like, oh, well, I want to do that. But I think it's about where that feeling goes next that's like the thing. Because, you know, jealousy, competitiveness, all these things are very natural. I don't think you're like a bad person if you feel them. Everyone feels them. But it's about like how you react to them, and is it overwhelming you in that way? Then maybe the relationship is, maybe you're both being like that then. Do you know what I mean? Like I have friends who are creatives, but like we all do different things. So I don't have another artist friend who's trying to make prints and make art and stuff. And I don't know how I would feel if we were trying to get into the same agencies and go to the same event, you know, like that would be a weird thing. Do you know what I mean? But I would say if they're your best friend, there should be total happiness for you, and the feeling about themselves should be so separate.
Yeah.
Like when you talk to your friends about like how everyone's lives are, say they've got married and you haven't got married, or they got a promotion and you haven't got one, like you should be able to separate yourself from how you feel about where they are, right? Otherwise, you're just going to feel like it's all about you, and it's not.
Also, from the other side of that, I think if your friends are at all making you feel negative about your success, they're not your friends.
For sure.
They're shit.
We don't know why you've written in saying this. So like if they are making you feel like like they're being competitive and then pushing you down, that's not friends.
Yeah.
You should be able to like get complete like love and like satisfaction from the support of your friends without any of the wording or any of what they say to you be tangled up in their situation. It's like if it's raining for you, you don't want it to rain for your friend, but some people get that muddled up, I think, and can want it to rain for you as well. You know?
Yeah.
It's tricky. Siblings, on the other hand, I feel like me and my sister are so close. We're 7 years apart, so I'm 7 years older than her. So obviously we're in different places in our lives. But I even feel like a tang if like she gets a new pair of trainers that I want. I'm like, because she's my sister, I'm like, oh, well, she's put me out here a bit in my brain for a split 5 seconds. I'll be like, she listens to our podcast too, so she'll find this funny. Yeah. Like, you know, there'll be a bit, and I'm sure she feels the same in your stomach where you're like, oh, I wanted them. But like, that's nothing, I have no further feeling towards that. Like, that I have ultimate happiness for her.
You would never,
right?
You would never want her to be unsuccessful.
Never.
Just because of how you felt about something.
For sure.
It's
and
like
the trainer thing's like quite frivolous, but yeah.
Like,
say I ended up with no kids and, you know, like all of my hopes and dreams didn't happen and my business fell through and we broke up and she was like the most successful, 4 kids, perfect life. That's all I want for her. I have to separate myself. Otherwise you can't, I don't think you can really have good relationships in general, can you?
I agree.
And when you're younger, I think that's harder to do. Do you think that?
I think it gets easier to be happy for other people when you're more happy in your situation.
Yeah.
You know? And if you feel like you're working towards the things that you want, like business-wise, it's like you would... Because She Paints is like a real thing and you're pushing it and it's like just growing and doing well, right? No, I don't think you can argue that She Paints is not doing well. Why would you ever see someone else, especially a friend, being successful and be annoyed about it?
For sure.
It just wouldn't. It just like that's not how your brain would work.
But that's because I think of maturity. Honestly, when I was younger, I think I would be jealous because I just think I was a bit of a like only child for 7 years. Like I don't know. I think I've learnt that. Yeah. Not like I don't think I'd even say to anyone. I think I would just in myself feel a bit red with jealousy, like, you know,
green with jealous rage.
Green with jealous rage. Sounds like a witch, but I don't know. I hope that you feel good about your journey and where you are, so that you don't have to feel that about others, because you can't really be. Yeah, you have to love yourself before you love anyone else, right? And it goes back to that.
Ditto.
And if people aren't doing that to you, then they're not happy.
Yeah, but also, just because they're not happy, that's not an excuse. I just want to reiterate what I said before, that if the reason that you wrote in is because your friends aren't giving you the support that you need, sack them off.
There's no space for competitiveness in friends unless you're playing board games.
Or ball games.
Yeah.
And actually... I think competitiveness is fine. Is that the word that they use?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think competitiveness is fine. It's when it
gets further than that.
Yeah, it's like... Oh, actually, no, maybe I'm wrong.
No, I don't think it's fine, because if you're sat having drinks and they're like,
competitiveness.
I got this much this week, I made this much, that's competitiveness, like comparing.
Okay, yeah, what am I trying to say? Just like, everyone should be happy for everyone doing well. That's basically it. And if your friends aren't happy for you doing well, sack them off.
Then write in and we'll tell you what to do.
Yeah. Can we call it there?
Yeah. Have we been talking for this long?
We've been talking for this long. Don't know how long this is. So. Such a dad
We have so much to do today. So we're racing through the jobs.
It's really late.
Okay. I've loved talking of you.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this as well.
I love you. Let's do another one.
Cool. Well, not right now.
No.
Just in the future. See ya.
Hold my hand. What's wrong? Are you annoyed?
No.
Okay.